Coming in number 5, we've got trumpeting angels. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good trumpet solo. It's a beautiful instrument with so much room for expression and range. However, these angels aren't likely looking to play some blues scales, nor are they going to run through a sorrowful ballad. They're playing these trumpets as a way to kick off the horrifying festivities of the end of the world. The 7 trumpets shall be played by 7 angels, each of which marks the beginning of something terrible. This all happens after humanity has already been reduced to tatters and folks are living in caves, so hot start. But it does get hotter, because the trumpets are supposed to raise hell. Let's run through all 7 and see how we feel. The first trumpet rings out loud and clear, summoning a storm of hellfire. Hail, fire, and boiling blood will rain from the skies upon those still present on earth. This is so spicy hot that all the grass and trees still standing will be burned down to nothing. Anyone outside of their cave dwelling will be cooked too. Now, you might be thinking that the sea is a good, safe place during all of this, but not so, as the second trumpet begins the process of breaking down a burning mountain and setting all the pieces into water, reducing the wildlife to blood and destroying any human-made vessels. Trumpet number 3 fells a star named Wormwood, sending it careening down to Earth. When it touches down, it poisons a portion of all the waters on Earth, whether they be rivers, lakes, oceans, or streams. There are stark few comforts left at this point, but things can get worse. All of the light from the sun and stars disappears at the sound of the 4th trumpet, which can't be very well received by the folks still surviving. After darkness reigns, an eagle will swoop down and warn folks of the next trumpets and their consequences. Number 5 brings about another fallen star, this one carrying a plague of locusts that are meant to torment any non-believers. Now here's where things get really dire. Trumpet 6 unleashes 4 very special, very violent angels. This fearsome foursome will send 200 million horsemen down to Earth to cut through a third of humanity using fire, smoke, and sulfur. Holy smoke, they're not messing around. Worse yet, their horses barely resemble anything equine. They're chimeric abominations with heads of lions, snake-like tails, and horrible breath. Lastly, number 7 kicks off a brand new set of tortures for those who remain on Earth, led by another set of awful angels. Let's talk about that in the next entry. Coming in number 4, we've got the 7 bowls. The trumpets were just a warning, a sign of things to come. And while the angels who played these deadly instruments are bad, the angels in charge of these heavenly bowls are so much worse. Plus, they look like they're bringing down holy offerings, which gives folks false hope before realizing what's actually going on. So 7 angels take up 7 bowls or vials or whatever vessel you can imagine and bring the contents down to Earth. They then begin pouring whatever's inside down upon the ground, and then things go really sour. Inside these bowls resides pain and torture, plague and disease. Anyone who made it through the trumpeting will then be annihilated without remorse. Folks develop oozing sores, rivers are filled with blood, people literally combust on the spot. It's all very wild. And the fun doesn't stop there either. As plagues spread through the world and those who have sinned suffer lifetimes of pain, even more madness is poured by these bowl-bringing angels. After the Euphrates River dries up, battles between kings of the world will begin and more lives will be lost. And to top everything off, the bowls bring about the most powerful and destructive earthquake that mankind will ever see. No disaster to date will compare to the chaos whipped up by this massive quake, leveling entire cities in seconds, opening up enormous chasms in the earth, and generally making it really hard to have a good time. Damn. So what at first appears to be a reward for surviving the trumpeteers actually becomes an ever greater punishment. These angels literally split the world apart with the quake after implementing all sorts of legendary suffering. Jeez Louise, I thought these guys were supposed to protect and watch over humanity, not absolutely annihilate everyone. Coming in number 3, we've got the false prophet. Whether this is actually an angel or not is a point of contention, but I believe that this presence is employed by the heavens regardless, so we'll allow it. This beastly brute will arrive just in time to sway the hearts of weaker humans, and then condemn them for falling to his trickery. During the divine trumpet solo, a horrifying beast will emerge from the sea, killing many. However, the beast will be injured after this. Once that is complete, the false prophet will rise. This entity will force anyone around to worship the first beast, causing them to be branded with the mark of the beast, or 666. Any who comply will be damned, of course, and will also suffer immensely once the plagues from the bowls rain down. But really, did any mortal have a choice in the matter? The beast from the sea is powerful enough to frighten anyone into submission, so what else are they supposed to do? During a rain of hellfire like that, there's not too much in terms of rational thinking or hope. I suppose it's a test to see if those who are truly devoted to God are ready to simply die with the knowledge that they'll be saved. But still, that is a hardcore trust test. Coming in number 2, we've got the of Babylon. Another questionably angelic figure, but one who appears nonetheless. As chaos reigns around the world, the whole of Babylon will descend upon humanity riding a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. She will be drunk on the blood of martyrs and saints and looking for a good time. And by good time, I do mean blood. This is interesting, as this particular figure seems to be representative of a political movement at the time. Scholars often accept her as a symbol for Rome, with 7 heads representing the 7 hills of Rome and the 10 horns standing in for the 10 emperors who seem to be pushing for a less Christian world. So even if this promiscuous beast rider wasn't an angel from heaven herself, she represented something that God would have abhorred. And in being a symbol to rally against and hate, this Babylonian beauty probably steered folks back in the direction those at the church appreciated. Interesting, right? And finally, at number 1, we've got Abaddon, God's chosen angel of death, the supposed location of the lake of fire, and a legendary name overall. This figure is said to have released the locusts mentioned earlier. A swarm of locusts probably isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things. They can block out the sun and eat all your crops, but that is a minor setback. However, Abaddon's locusts, that's a whole other story. These hellish insects are ready to go to war. They're said to appear as war horses with human heads and thorny crowns. With long flowing hair and teeth as sharp and strong as a lion's, they're instructed to torture anyone without the sign of God on their forehead for 5 long months. It seems a little excessive, but here we are. This is an angel who's all about cleansing the world of impure people through death, and the fact that he also commands these hordes of nightmare bugs only serves to intensify his wicked reputation. If there's an angel better known for cruelty and unforgivingness, let me know. But for now, we'll let Abaddon top the list. I hear there's a hotel somewhere that shares his name. I wonder what it's like. Coming at number 5, we've got Leviathan. Often associated with adjectives like aquatic and enormous, Leviathan is a word we often hear outside of the context of angels. It's a concept at this point. If something is a Leviathan, it's an enormous sea monster, ready to swallow entire ships whole, prepared to annihilate fleets of submarines, waiting for its chance to appear in a monster movie. But here's the thing, Leviathan isn't just some monstrous figure in the ocean, nor is it simply a huge roller coaster in Vaughn. Leviathan is also a demonic angel. Damn, that's a badass title. Let me tell you some more. The sea monster reputation is well earned, as Leviathan often appears or is described as an enormous sea monster or a gigantic whale. Oftentimes he will destroy ships and other vessels that dare to cross the open sea. Poor sailors, am I right? A lot of folks do end up mixing him up with Behemoth, but we'll let it be for now. There's another roller coaster joke in there somewhere, but I don't have it in me to make it. Leviathan makes appearances throughout ancient texts, from showing up and being described as a Lovecraftian beast with the mere sight of it being overpowering, to a whale that traps another famous character in its belly for 3 days. That first one also details Leviathan's enormous horrible teeth and a back covered in shiny shield-like scales. That's not all either. Apparently Leviathan can breathe fire, throws smoke from his nostrils, and has eyes that shine so bright they can blind you. My word, that is an incredible biblical beast. And somehow, some way, he's still considered an angel. What a world we live in, right? Then of course there's the tale of Jonah and the whale, and in this case, Leviathan could very well be that whale. We've seen him described as the enormous underwater individual before, so it fits quite well if you think about it. Overall, this is an angel that nobody wants to encounter, even on a good day. Gigantic, predatory, powerful, and full of folks it ate, Leviathan is crazy. It's for the best that it stays deep underwater, away from everyone else. Coming at number 4, we've got CHALKYDRI. Now, instead of listing off 5 specific individual angels, we'll bring in a new group for this one, the CHALKYDRI. Sounds kind of funny, but they're serious business. In some of our earlier angelic videos this year, we discussed the classifications of angels a little bit and found out about all sorts of interesting creatures. Gone was the idea that angels had to be glorious humanoid figures descending from above the clouds to play beautiful tunes upon harps. Angels could be chimeric abominations, too hideous for humans to lay eyes upon. That is just the case with the CHALKYDRI. Oh yeah. To kick it off, let's talk about where these things live. Not in the heavens or above the clouds or anything like that. The the CHALKYDRI are so much more hardcore than that. These angels have decided to take up residence in the sun. You know, the enormous ball of fire in outer space that burns bright enough to warm our entire planet from 150 million kilometers away? Yeah, they live there. I'm sure their tans are immaculate. Described as marvelous and wonderful, or in my words, overwhelming and intense, these angels take on very interesting forms. Their feet and tails are like that of a lion, offering up claws and speed unlike most others. Something, everything the light touches is ours, right, Simba? Well, that's only partially true, because the CHALKYDRI also have heads like crocodiles, adding in a new measure of deadliness previously unheard of. They're 900 measures in size, whatever that means, and have 12 angelic wings. And for some reason, they seem to be rainbow colored. So a Technicolor lion-crocodile combo with angel wings pops out of the sun from time to time to bring heat, dew, and rays to the folks on Earth. You know what? Maybe they're not so bad after all. Coming in at number 3, we've got BELPHEGOR. And we're back to individual powerful angels. This one in particular is a well-known fallen angel, which tends to be the case a lot of the time. BELPHEGOR is associated with plenty of sinful behaviors. There's greed, sloth, discord, selfishness, and more. Although, let's be real, sloth and greed are the biggest in his books. He likes to give mortals great ideas for inventions, therefore filling their minds with selfish greed. They'll devote great parts of their lives to these plans, forgetting all sorts of other important things. And often, if these inventions come to fruition, they don't actually improve the state of the world all that much. Yeah, it's mostly stuff that extracts more wealth from the world in the laziest and most destructive way possible. Then the inventions will also draw their users into sloth, as they make things a little too easy. Classic BELPHEGOR. Interestingly enough, this isn't a fallen angel who was on Lucifer's side from the start. However, when Lucifer and his supporters staged their rebellion against the heavens, BELPHEGOR didn't explicitly side with God either. For this slight, he was inevitably sent down to hell anyways. Damn, you just can't win, eh? However, as we've seen, he's adjusted quite well. After his fall, he took to being a prince of hell quickly and started doing his best to preside over sloth. At least he's adaptable. Coming in number 2, we've got MASTEMA. Known for his judgments and punishments of humans, MASTEMA is one scary angel. He's an arbiter, and you do well not to forget that. If MASTEMA gets the chance, he'll put you 6 feet under for eternity. Worse yet, he treats his whole job like a sting operation. Instead of sitting back and waiting for humans to do unholy things, he actively tempts mankind with all sorts of stuff to make them act out of turn. That's tough, huh? Like, you'd think you're living your life and then bam, MASTEMA tempting you with something lovely but sinful. It just doesn't seem fair, does it? But that is what this angel does, and he does it well. Some say that MASTEMA and Belial are the same entity, just seen from different angles, Belial being the more demonic and MASTEMA being more angelic. However, their actions are indeed the same, or mostly similar, from leading some of God's armies against angels, to controlling legions of demons to control and tempt humans on Earth. It's even said that MASTEMA was involved with the Watchers, who ended up causing that massive flood way back when. You know the story. So now MASTEMA is known as the tester of humans. Even after all of that chaos and mayhem, he's still trusted to do things in the name of God. And I'm not sure which is worse, damning people in the name of Satan or damning people in the name of God. I'd much rather an angel try to help people be better rather than entrapping them and seeing to it that they're sent to hell. But hey, I don't claim to understand how angels work. And finally, at number 1, we've got Lucifer. If we were to tally up every list that Lucifer topped, what do you think the final count would be? It's probably a lot higher than I'm estimating, to be honest. But hey, it's not like his spot at the top is undeserved, right? Lucifer worked hard to earn the recognition of people around the world. Hell, there's even a popular TV series featuring this fallen angel. If you can think of a more famous or more fearsome angel than this, please let me know. But until then, we're putting Mr. L right at the tippy top, over and over again. You know the story. Lucifer was an angel without peer. Nobody could stop him. He was the ultimate in heavenly hunks. But then one day he let his pride take over. Instead of being happy that he was the creme de la creme of angels, he thought about usurping God himself. Wrong move, yeah? After organizing something like 1/3 of all the angels in heaven for an uprising, they got beat by the remaining heavenly bodies and sent down to the underworld. So much hope, so much pride, so little execution. Since then, Lucifer slash Satan slash the devil has been watching over hell, doing what he can to bring order to the chaos. Someday he may rise up and take revenge upon those who smote him. Until then, though, he's responsible for a whole lot of human folly. Goodness gracious. Coming in number 5, we've got PURIEL. Not to be confused with the top tier hand sanitizer, although I wouldn't be too mad if you made that mistake. This angel does a similar job to the alcohol-based cleaning solution. He purifies and eliminates all sorts of unsavory things. Whether or not that's 99%, I can't be sure, but here we are anyway. His job is one that not many would really want to do. PURIEL is the angel of punishment. One would think that once you made it to heaven, there wouldn't really be a need for that kind of thing, but apparently we're wrong. He watches over the prison in heaven, acting as the warden. Who knew? He's also responsible for examining each and every soul that makes it up to heaven after dying. During this spot check, he makes sure that the soul is pure enough to be allowed to pass through. Kinda like a TSA check at the airport, but somehow more invasive. Instead of checking your passport and your luggage and making assumptions based on your appearance and background, they're instead reaching into the depths of your soul. Talk about a cavity search, am I right? If you are fit to enter heaven, he will let you pass, although I'm not so sure you'll be the same person after an experience like that. Fail the test, and out you go. Down to hell or possibly purgatory to cavort with all sorts of other unworthy individuals. Damn, so close too. PURIEL is known for being fiery and pitiless too, so don't count on just barely squeezing by. If he doesn't like what he sees, he's gonna drop you from the clouds faster than you can say bless you. Dang. Maybe he does have a lot in common with PURIEL. I'm sure he eliminates 99% of potential heavenly residents. I wonder if that could have any long-term implications like hand sanitizer and antibiotics do, you know, by leaving some of the stronger unsavory bits untouched so that they get stronger and no longer be purified by that regular dose. Super bacteria, here we come. Oh man, did I just compare me and the others unworthy of heaven to bacteria? Gotta work on that self-esteem. Coming in number 4, we've got Simkiel. Dangerously close to Sin Kiel, this is another remorseless, unrepentant angel. Do not put yourself in her sights lest you be utterly annihilated in seconds flat. One has to wonder how an angel becomes the chief of destruction, although I wouldn't recommend asking Simkiel anything about it. She's likely to just cash in on that title in the wildest way possible. Destruction. In addition to her first title, she also is known as the Angel of Vengeance, which works well with those predetermined traits. Destructive and vengeful seem to go hand in hand quite well. Claim revenge through destruction, destroy upon the path of vengeance. What an angel. Simkiel does spend a good amount of time in heaven, commanding other angels, but will often be called down to earth to chastise and purify sinners. Most folks have a hard enough time being chastised by their teachers and employers. Imagine a literal angel from heaven dropping in to give you an earful. My word. Plus, the way most angels purify sinners isn't pleasant. It's not just radiant light zapping you to righteousness in the same way a UV light might disinfect buffet food. You're probably getting smoten. Straight to hell with your sinful ass. She doesn't always work alone either. Many lesser angels receive Simkiel's orders and follow them with fervor. A whole platoon of vengeful, destructive angels on the lookout for sinners and sinner adjacents. I don't know about you folks watching at home, but I don't think too many righteous and pious people are watching top 5 scary videos. So Simkiel should be on our list of folks to avoid at all costs, as if we could even avoid her in the first place. Oh well, I guess there's only so much you can control in life. Might as well get cleansed by the good guys in the end, right? Coming in number 3, we've got Ansiel. Working closely with Simkiel, Ansiel is another tough cookie straight out of the clouds. With a name meaning the constrainer, one can assume that nothing good comes from being constrained. Images of prison, the inability to move, and possibly even Stockholm Syndrome are evoked, are they not? All that being said, it's tough to think that an angel who makes regular use of constraints is anyone's safe haven, unless you're a regular on a smutty roleplay blog, and in that case, you do you. Ansiel isn't all that bad though. He's often invoked to prevent forgetfulness and stupidity, which, to be honest, we could all use a hand with from time to time. However, if someone were to rely on angelic intervention regularly to keep them in line, well, what hope did they even have in the first place? Apparently Ansiel is known for having a very short temper when it comes to these two traits, however, so those who need his help the most are likely to be held in contempt by him. Maybe find a new job, right? Humorless and hard to get along with, Ansiel is an excellent soldier. In fact, he's one of Michael's greatest warriors, which means if anyone is ever to step to him, things will end very badly for them. Watch out and try to keep tabs on stuff you're supposed to remember. If you fail at this, you could find yourself restrained, constrained, and in Ansiel's bad books. Coming at number 2, we've got Gabriel. Now we're talking about the big ones, the archangels. Gabriel in particular can be a real pain to deal with. The youngest of the archangels, he is known as the messenger of God. He heralds major changes and brings news from the heavens. So if you run into Gabriel, you can be assured that something monumental is about to happen. You'd better listen closely though, because he doesn't suffer fools. In fact, if he senses that you're not paying close enough attention, he might just silence you forever. That's almost what happened to Zechariah. When Gabriel descended to announce the birth of John the Baptist, Zechariah initially reacted poorly. Seeing this, Gabriel got angry. So angry that he threatened to take away Zechariah's voice. He said, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and bring this good news. But now, because you did not believe my words, you will become mute, unable to speak until the day these things occur." Man, I can only imagine what happens when he gets into an actual argument with someone. For a being with divine powers, he sure has a short temper. Plus, as God's messenger, Gabriel is going to be the first to show up if God ever decides to call this all quits. It's more likely than you think, too. Humans are sinful and often turn to other forces these days, and in so many movies, Gabriel is the big bad guy who causes all sorts of problems for humanity. When you're the first angel to show up, you'd better believe you're going to catch a lot of folks off guard. And finally, at number 1, we've got Michael. To cap off our list, the head archangel himself. He's the one powerful enough to push Lucifer out of heaven. He's the one strong enough to end the angelic war. He's the one righteous enough to prevent Samael from tearing a baby from its mother's womb. Nothing can stop Michael save for God himself, so why would he be on this list? Well, that kind of unchecked power can never be good, now can it? As the most powerful angel in creation, he has control over all of the other angels. God leaves him in his stead to rule over the kingdom of heaven, and if Michael were to ever change things up, it's unlikely that anyone would be able to do anything about it. If Michael looks down and deems our world unworthy, we're done for. Game over. The book of Revelation will come to fruition and all mortals will suffer before being cleansed from the earth. It's good to know, right?